Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Ben and I'm a self-taught web dev who went from zero to paid full stack in 8 months via the Odin project. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about networking. So I'm going to go over some stuff. What is networking? What's the best way to do it, at least in my opinion? And anecdotally, how networking helped me get my software engineering role. So I studied the Odin project and I took about 8 months to finish the Ruby on Rails path. So I only got about halfway through the Odin project before I got my first internship. And I got that internship purely because I networked, and I networked socially online. I wasn't in person. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can do that and how I did it. Before I do that, I just want to share with you, if you have done the Odin project, you may have even seen this course, but there's a course on professional networking. And the whole point of this is to give you a little bit of a rundown to explain what networking is, how you can do it, and why it is valuable for you in landing your first role or any subsequent role as well. And this is actually a lesson that I initiated and I wrote for the Odin project with help from wordsmithing from other people as well in reviews. Thank you to them. But I recognized that there was a clear deficiency in this extremely important exercise that is networking. So I really wanted to put something together that's just some thoughts on paper that will get you thinking about networking early on. Now, this lesson is later on in the curriculum, but I highly recommend looking at this lesson early on. Even if you're not in the Odin project, take a look at this lesson and you'll understand hopefully a bit more about what networking is and why you should be undertaking this activity and building it in to your daily workflows of trying to become a software developer. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this word by word, but you can see the lesson contents here on the right. We have an intro, lesson overview, that's pretty standard. So we explain what is a professional network. I don't think I need to explain this, but basically it's just a group of people that you can interact with on a professional capacity. Why is it useful? Well, the undertone here is a network can really help you get a job, whether it be direct or through exposure to additional opportunities that you would not otherwise come across if you were not a member of that network. Then I go into how to build a professional network. And the key thing here is start now. I think you must start networking as early as possible because networking is one of those activities that builds dividends. The longer you have it, the more you invest in it, the greater the benefit you get back from networking. And then it looks at your options. So most of these options are going to fall into two buckets: in person and online. Now, your in-person options are going to vary depending on who you are, where you live, what city you live in, what proximity you have to events going on around you. The online options are obviously open to everybody. I would recommend taking a look at these in this lesson, just so you can become more familiar with those if you're not sure what your options are. But one of the key ones I'm going to focus on here is LinkedIn, because that has been my most lucrative networking tool to date. And I know LinkedIn sometimes get a connotation of being like a self-propelling, aggrandizing exercise, and maybe it is. But if you want to win the game, you have to play it. And I focused on playing this game early, and it did pay dividends for me. And one of the most important things that's going to carry through any time you're trying to build a connection is make sure they are genuine connections, because people will smell falsehoods. People will smell you coming to try and get something from them without giving anything back very quickly. You got to be genuine in your approach to people when you want to talk about stuff, and they're more likely to reciprocate and put energy and time into communicating with you. If you come along asking for something without giving anything in return, most people are just not going to help you. And I'm not going to go through any more of the lesson here. I think you should go along and read this. If you just search the Odin project networking in Google, you will land on this lesson. Take a look. And if you have any comments on this as well, things that don't make sense or things that could be improved or change, do let me know in the comments, because we can easily change this. I really want this document to help people. So back to my story, networking. I understood the value of networking early on because I had a past career where networks were also very important, and I was good at building networks. I'm I am an introverted person, but I'm maybe extroverted on that scale, if that makes sense. I can be extroverted if the time calls for it. And I actually really enjoy talking to people and meeting new people. I do get tired after doing a lot of it and I need to recuperate. That's the introversion in me. You may have a different style. You know you best, but you do what works for you. And I will just tell you what I did, and hopefully you can pull some threads that will be useful for yourself in your own approach to networking. So where it started for me, I was doing the Odin project, and then around about just after Foundations, when I started to get in the Ruby on Rails path, I really started to focus on building networks online, and LinkedIn was my primary target. And the reason LinkedIn was my primary target is pretty simple. It's full of companies, and it's full of employees in companies. It's full of founders, right? It's a very quick way to get access to people. And this was back in early 2022. So the layoffs weren't really hitting hard then. There was still quite a lot of hiring going on at that time. And I just started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I knew I wanted to go into Ruby on Rails, so I filtered the search results for people via Ruby on Rails. And I started to connect with as many developers in Ruby on Rails as I could. And I would take a look at their profile. I would take a look at the company. And I would try and think of some genuine questions, icebreakers. I introduce myself, say, hey, my name is Ben. I'm studying Ruby on Rails with the hopes to become a self-taught employed developer. I note that you do Ruby on Rails and that you work at this company. X is really interesting about this. What are your experiences? Would you be open to a coffee chat? And I approached many people like this. And yes, most people don't really respond, right? Whether they check LinkedIn, they don't have the time or energy to respond. But some people do. And I got to do some informational interviews with a couple of developers. Developers, for example, from Shopify, who were like senior backend developers, and from other companies as well. And that really helped me get to learn about what they do on the day-to-day. And it helped them understand who I was. Now, does every connection that you make equal a job? Definitely not. You hope it does, right? When you talk to that developer from Shopify, you're like, ooh, now I have an in. They know my name. Hopefully, they can review me when I make my application to the company. In big companies, it doesn't work that way, right? But it does pay off if you keep going, because chances are there will be that one in. Okay, so what was my success in this networking is I built lots of connections and I talked to people, and I spent quite a bit of time during the day to just message people back and forth with questions I was deeply, honestly interested in and engaging in conversations. And I had applied to the Shopify internship. And you may or may not know, but in 2022, Shopify, they axed their internship program. And it's a very popular internship program, especially for people interested in Ruby on Rails. But they axed it because they were going through big layoffs. And I was halfway through that process. And I went on LinkedIn, and there was a post. It was written by, I think it was the Globe and Mail, which is a Canadian newspaper. And I commented on that post saying, oh yes, I was one of the interns who basically had the rug pulled out from underneath me, and my application was just dissolved into thin air. It was quite, an upsetting thing, quite frustrating. And that post went semi-viral. For some reason, it got picked up. A lot of people saw it, and I had many, probably 10, 11, 12 people messaging me. Some people saying, oh, that happened to me, or oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. There were other people saying, hey, you're a Ruby on Rails dev. I've got a project that I need help with, right? And it kind of just snowballed, and I made more and more connections that way because I was engaging in content online. And that's another important thing that you should do, is engage in content. If people are making posts, make a comment, leave a thoughtful comment, ask a question, right? Develop some dialogue on that. And to fast forward a little bit, I made a connection there that later tagged me on a post from another company called FreshBooks, which is an accounting software in Canada, out of Toronto. And they made a post saying that their internship was going to pick up anyone who was sort of dropped from the Shopify internship flow. Come and apply with us, and we'll see how you do. And I did that. I would not have known about that unless one of my new connections tagged me on that post. And she said, hey, Ben, check this out. You're in Canada. And the rest is history. I applied for that, and I got my internship with FreshBooks. Now, a caveat to that is also I was building a very important to me side project, which is a real world application, a dog rescue application at that time, which is also, I think, a reason why I got the job. So my network helped me my network put the opportunity in front of me. And then my side project, which was novel and I think set me apart, is what got me past the interview and into the company as an intern. So that was my first example of where networking was really, really important for me and helped me get my first job. My second job, I had left FreshBooks, so I did 2 terms of an internship at FreshBooks. But they were also going through layoffs at this time. This is now in early 2023. And they offered me another internship, 4 months at an internship rate. And by this time I knew I was no longer operating an intern value. I was definitely a solid junior. And I thought, well, I don't know where this is going to go. I could stay here for another 4 months and maybe it'll turn into a real job. Maybe it won't. I had my old career job that was still available to me. So I went back there for a month while I looked for other jobs. And again, my network, it paid dividends again for a second time. It got me my second job. So I went on to LinkedIn again and I said, hey, I am interested in Ruby on Rails. I've been working at FreshBooks, although that was in Python and JavaScript. My core interest is in Ruby on Rails. Are there any people out there in my network who are looking for a Ruby on Rails developer? Lo and behold, one of my connections was a founder of a small e-commerce platform based out of Toronto who said, hey, I'm actually looking for a Rails dev. Send me your application. Out of thin air, I would not have known about this job unless I had a network. So this is case number 2 where my network has helped me find a really good opportunity. And so I sent my application in. I passed the test. It was quite a lengthy take-home test. It was quite hard. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I did well enough to get the job. And I ended up working at this e-commerce platform for a year. These people were great. I really liked them. Still friends with them. It's just the company was a bit small and it was hard for me to grow there. So I was like, you know what? I need to find another job. So I went out, got another job. This time it was a cold application on, I think it was Ruby on Rails job board. I can't remember the name of it. Something like that. Anyway, that was a cold application, got my job, kind of the traditional way there. Hand in your resume, go through the processes, etc. I was there for a while. And then when it came to leaving there, because the company culture just wasn't quite a fit with my own and what I needed at this time in my life, I actually was looking again on LinkedIn, and a connection that I had made while working at FreshBooks, a director of engineering there, I had noted, they actually started working at another company which is involved in the payroll space and the accounting space. So I checked out this company. Lo and behold, their app is built in Ruby on Rails. So I thought, amazing. I'm going to have a look at this and see if they are hiring anybody else. And I did some scouring, found some job posts. I'm like, I think I can apply to this. I reached out to this person, said, hey, you remember me from FreshBooks? I know you work here. I'm really looking to join a company just like this. Do you have any tips for me? Do you want to do a referral? And she gave me a referral link. So I made my application. Now, the caveat here is I was actually underqualified for the role. They were looking for someone with at least 3+ years of experience, and I had about 2 and a bit. So I was definitely underexperienced, but I still put my name in, and I got to the first kind of initial screening call with the recruiter. And when I explained to him that, I answered all the other questions very well, and we got on very well. And he's like, yeah, I think you'd be a great candidate for the next steps. Your experience is a little on the short side, however. And I explained, well, yes, but I'm a referral from this director of engineering. I've worked with them. I think they can vouch for my work. He's like, oh, you have a referral? Oh, that's great. I'm going to put you through to the next steps anyway and see how you do there. And subsequently, I passed all the subsequent steps and I got the job at the company where I'm at now. And I would not have that job if I hadn't have made my connections on LinkedIn. So, moral of the story, do not overlook the value of networking. Networking will give you so many opportunities that you would otherwise not come across if you put in the time to build genuine connections with people. I really, really recommend that. I don't know if there's no perfect amount of networking to do, right? You just got to put in as much time as you can and do it in a way that's actually interesting to you, so it does not become a chore or a burden. You actually should be engaged, interested in the conversations. So think of ways to talk to people in ways that you will enjoy doing, and networking will feel less of a chore and more of a, it's just, you're just chatting to people online. And if you enjoy doing that, then it's easy to do and it will pay off for you. Anyway, that's my story. That's why I think networking is very important and why you should start networking early. And I will leave it there. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below. And good luck networking. If you can find me on LinkedIn, feel free to send me a message. My name is Ben Robinson, and I'm a Ruby on Rails dev, if you hadn't guessed already. So yeah.